I was asked a question by a, a Christian that who wants me to try to explain God's context to pre-vegans. In other words, it's a Christian that's looking but wants to get the biblical intent. And so I think what we want to do is begin with God's commandment about love. And in Genesis 6:5, it says, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might or strength," depending on which translation you use. And the problem is most people don't understand the context in the Hebrew of the word might or strength. And what that means is everything we own, our wealth, our dreams, our families, whatever it is, that we put everything behind our love of God. So the love of God becomes paramount. That's first. Nothing else enters in. Everything else is secondary, or even tertiary beyond that. The other side is that if we love God completely in that way, we love the whole of his creation, which includes every other human being, every other animal, and yes, we're animals too, so it's every other animal, and the environment or the world around us that we all live in. And we have to love that and consider, whether it's suffering or joy or whatever it is. And that takes in consideration what we're told in Revelation 21, where we're talking about the new heaven and the new earth. And if we think about that, that is really God's intent. And in that verse, it says, "You shall have, there'll be no more," he'll take away, there'll be no more death or pain or suffering. So we have to understand that in loving God, we are not to cause any pain, suffering, or death, because that would hurt other living beings. And I don't care what excuses we put in, that's God's ultimate intent. And you can't eat flesh, meat, and by the way, we're made out of meat too. You can't eat it without causing pain, suffering, or death. And if you don't think that dairy or eggs cause suffering and death, they do. So we have to understand God's intent and what love means. And if we're going to live in that unconditional love, which includes unconditional compassion and empathy is feeling what the other people feel, other animals feel, and what the environment feels. And yes, we can feel what the environment feels. We have to stop what we're doing in this world, the majority of the people, and begin to live in God's heavenly will with no pain, no suffering, no death. Amen.